next up on the menu, we have living with your parents in your 20s. Ah, man. Oh, wrong screen. We're just gonna do it here. Bro, the economy these days, man, living with your parents is like one of the best things you can do at the starting half of your 20s. Shit, even like later half, if you're stacking up money. If you're stacking up money or literally just trying to pursue things while you have the comfort and while your parents are willing to have you live with them and you like provide and whatnot, and it's like not a parasitic relationship, then who gives a fuck? Who cares? Before we go into this video, which is going to be really comical on people who stay with their parents in their 20s. On a real note, no one truly gives a fuck. No one truly cares. Holy shit. What's this? Yeah, no one truly cares or gives a fuck if you are not parasitic to your parents. But like, if you're not, obviously there's something to be said there. But let's get about the video. Talk to me.
If you're in your 20s still living with your parents, you're a f***ing loser. If you're in your 20s still living with your parents, you're a f***ing loser. No motion, no money, and especially no bitches. Yeah, that's what I used to think when I was a kid. I saw these movies and people on social media live out their lives after moving to their own place. I know it was very common in the old days and for the older generations to move out of the house very early. Like once you turn 18 and you're a legal adult, you go off on your own and buy a home for the cost of a McChicken. Back then, living on your own was a sign of being independent and having freedom. It was a standard. So for the ones who didn't move out, it was like there was something wrong with them. But fast forward today, yeah, that's just not happening. The more I grew up, the more I realized that moving out isn't as easy as how people made it seem. With the economic state of the world, it's not realistic for someone to have their own place that young. Especially when you're like 18, bro, you just got out of high school. You probably didn't work your entire life, and if you did, it was part-time at McDonald's or something. And even in your early 20s, most people just graduated college and have a ton of debt to pay off. So adding the cost of rent on top of that is just gonna be another financial drainage. Either that or you barely started your career and have a little amount of savings, which won't be enough to buy yourself a home, that's for sure. The idea of getting your own place was kind of like a dream that I couldn't experience, at least when it came to my situation, because after high school, a good amount of people still move out of their parents' home for college. They'll be out living in dorms, in a new environment. There's tons of events going on in a new city, and they're surrounded by people their own age too. It's exciting, it's fun, it's new. And after living in a bubble with your parents your whole life, that is the first thrill you get when you move to a new place. But meanwhile, I didn't dorm out. Tuition was already expensive, and I wasn't gonna pile on the cost of living on my own. And without any financial aid, the full price of a college dorm is close to $1,300 a month, and you're stuck with a roommate in a shared tiny room. So I didn't find it to be worth it, and I was a commuter to my local university. But not gonna lie, when I saw my mutuals post on social media about their college life and being in a new city, I would get some FOMO. Cause you see these people having the time of their lives, making a bunch of friends while you're still at home.
You can't be falling for the FOMO of anything, cause the FOMO is what fucks you up. Listen, if you look at what other people are doing to be happy, you would think, oh, if I was doing that because they're my age or whatever, they may share some qualities with you. You may think, oh, if I did that, I would be just as happy as them. That's not always the case, and that's not even true half the time, unfortunately. Like, if that was the case, every celebrity would be unconditionally happy, but they're not, are they? Everybody who was successful would be unconditionally happy, just all positive, but it's not. You want to know why? Because that's not the rule. If there's exceptions to the rule, then it was never a rule to begin with. Meaning, you don't need to be independent at 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 25 is kind of crazy, though. After 25, shit, and the way the world going, I may extend that bracket. It's not really shocking why people still live with their parents. It shouldn't be. Shouldn't be shocking, and you shouldn't feel ashamed of it, especially if you're employed. If you're unemployed, but like how the world's going, I'm not surprised if you're unemployed. But if you're unemployed, no aspirations, and you're not like doing anything, that is very rough. But if that's not the case, if you have at least one of those things going for you, you're fine. You're fine. You're gonna be all right. Okay? You're gonna be all right.
Parents. You wake up in the morning and you see mama and papa there, feeling stuck in the same place while you're watching others progress. There isn't anything wrong with living with parents, but there's just some things that you can't do around them. Like sometimes you want to bring your friends over to hang out and party. You can't do that with mom and dad around. Want to bring a girlfriend or boyfriend over? No privacy. You got to be careful on what you talk about on the phone because your parents might be listening in. Even with stricter parents, some people have curfews, which is kind of crazy if you're in your 20s. There's this app called Life 360 and it's kind of like sharing your location, except on steroids. Because not only do you know where a person is located, you get notifications of the extra details like when they arrived at this address, how long they stayed at this address for, how fast they were driving. One of my friends has that type of relationship with their mom, and when I hear about it, it sounds like they're a dog on a leash. This is definitely the reason for what drives their son or daughter away from the house, when they're so controlled to the point they don't find it worth it to be living under the same household. I'm not in that situation personally. Obviously, living with parents comes with some restrictions, but it's not to the point where it's toxic and I feel like I have to move out. But after seeing both sides of it, being a person who stayed home and also seeing friends getting their own place, they both come with pros and cons. These are the trends I noticed. The biggest one being the financial benefit. Whoever stayed living at home typically had more savings than those who moved out. When I asked my friends to go on a trip, the ones who live in dorms have a way smaller budget than those who didn't. And it makes sense because they're the ones who have to shell out a couple $1,000s in rent every month. The ones who didn't pay rent, they could use their savings to go on vacations and splurge if they wanted to. It's like an unpatched method. Live with your parents to pay little to no rent and use that extra cash to go on your vacations. Living at home also gives you more free time too. Back in college, I was extremely locked in. I was working 2 jobs, full-time in school, at my prime in the gym, bench 225 at 130 pounds, you know what I'm saying? I fell off now, but a huge contribution to me being able to do all that was because I had the luxury of other responsibilities taken off my hands. I came home from an 8-hour shift and a meal was prepared by my mom. And because I didn't have to deal with the everyday chores like laundry, dishes, cooking meals, that opened up my schedule to be more productive on other things. Now that I think about it, I would be broke as hell if I had my own apartment. Because not only would I be working less hours because I would spend time doing household chores, but every penny I earned working would have to be used for rent. I would be in a cycle of brokenness, like I would be working all these hours just to pay for my living expenses and going back to $0. The benefit of additional time and saving money is phenomenal. Do you think I could have uploaded 40 plus videos this year if I lived by myself? Absolutely not. By the way, like and subscribe. We're almost at 30K and I would really appreciate it if you click those 2 buttons right there. On the other hand, people who moved out are more independent. Living on your own shapes you to be someone else and you'll grow.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree that they're always more independent. Sometimes they move out and then they're back with their parents again. Or they move out and they have to rely on something heavily. I don't think people who move out are more independent all the time. Normally you would think that, but trust me, it's not the case.
In a way that wouldn't be possible with your parents' support. No one's there to hold your hand anymore. And when you remove that security blanket, you become self-reliant. By managing your own expenses, learning to take care of yourself on your own, you evolved. For example, one of my friends could not cook if his life depended on it. One time he served me bacon like this. Them shits was still oinking. And ever since he moved out, he had to buy his own groceries, prepare his own meals, and his cooking has actually been pretty good. I'm willing to bet that if this person was thrown in a random city with no connections, they'll be able to figure out how to adapt. And I'm sure that gives you confidence because you can navigate your life through unknown situations. Being out on your own also forces you to talk to people. If you're in a new area full of strangers, you'll eventually venture out to make friends. When you're out exploring the city, you'll probably bump to the people that share the same interests and become very close friends with them. And now your connections expanded from just your hometown. At the same time though, for the ones who stayed in their hometown, I feel like the closeness of old friends grew even stronger. Regardless of what social media makes it seem, the majority of people stay with their family even after high school graduation, and because of that, I was able to bond more with the friends I already had. A lot of my closest friends are like 6-7 year relationships that I met from high school, and I don't think I would be as close to them if I moved somewhere else. When it comes to people who are in like a toxic, controlling household, the ones that move out seem to be in a better relationship with their family. You know the saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder? I think in a platonic sense, your parents get used to you not being around the house as often, and they start lessening their control towards you. They see how you're fine on your own and give you more freedom, and hopefully that makes your family get along better. I just wanted to call out the differences between living on your own versus with parents. I know it's easy to get blindsided when you're watching other peers. You're gonna compare yourself with things you don't have, but the reality is both have their own blessings and benefits, and both have their own problems. It kind of sums up to this.
Comparison is the thief of joy. Always remember that. It is the kryptonite to like having peace of mind. Because why would you compare yourself when they're literally just showing you what you could do if you were in that frequency and mindset? It's a metaphysical thing, bro. Everything is. Why would you compare yourself to someone when you literally can do what they do, if not better? Comparison is a thief of joy. Never compare yourself.
This video.
Finally, my own apartment. Oh man, this is great. It's peaceful and it's quiet. Hello to my new life. Oh man, it is is so nice not being around my parents or my siblings.
And it's great not having to wake up to a vacuum cleaner or dishes being slammed around at 7 a.m.
Honestly though, I am kind of lonely.
It's so weird, I don't have anyone to hang out with.
Man, I really wish my mom was here to cook for me.
Hey Mom, I miss you.
Oh my gosh, there's so many dishes. How am I supposed to pay this bill?
But going back to our main topic, if you are in your 20s living with parents, that's okay. But if you do decide to move out, that decision shouldn't stem from societal pressure. It shouldn't be like, oh, everybody else is moving out in their 20s, so I should too. No, it should depend on what you're trying to accomplish for the next few years in your life. If you want to be in a brand new environment, venture out, gain some independence, and meet new people, you might want to consider living on your own. If you want to save as much money as you can for your future, it might be a better idea to stay at home. Nowadays, you really got to consider the financial aspect of it though, because we already know the cost of living and rent is atrocious.
Have you seen how much apartments cost? I'm not gonna lie, if you a grown-ass man and you still living with your mother,
nigga, stay there.
So you have to think about the trade-offs to even afford it. It might come with having a roommate, a smaller room, living in a dangerous neighborhood. Regardless, if you find moving out to be worth it, that is ultimately your decision. Unless you got kicked out of the house the moment you turn 18, but that's a topic for another video. I do have to say though, when you're an adult living with your parents, it's easy to fall into being babied. And what I mean by that is that you might still get treated like a 13-year-old even when you're 25.
Unless you just didn't respect them and you were a dickhead, there's no wonder why you got kicked out. But you turned 18, you were like, well, what's my present? And they were like, your freedom. And you're like, well, what do you mean by that? Get the fuck out of my house. Yeah, you're 18 now. I'm gonna need you to leave.
And I think you should be aware that living in this bubble with the comfort of your parents' support should not be a permanent thing. No matter what, you are still relying on them, which is okay, but have a plan. You should not be depending on your parents forever. That's how this whole stigmatism was created, where you're that guy living in their mother's basement and incapable of moving out. And I said incapable, because there's a difference between having the full capability to move out but choosing to stay versus having no other choice but to stay. American culture does make it look down upon for living with your parents in your 20s, and I feel like a lot of people get insecure when they share that their home life is with their mom and dad, but I also feel like that's when you're dependent on them. If you're financially stable, happy, confident in your life, you wouldn't be ashamed about living with them because you have the ability to move out on your own.
Well, even if you aren't those things externally, like physically you don't have those things, let's say you are someone who doesn't have those things. You don't have financial freedom. Physically, you don't have a good mindset, you're kind of depressed, and you stay with your parents and you have to rely on them. Let's say that is you. If you were all of a sudden given all of those things, do you honestly truly think that your life would be better? Do you honestly truly think that you would know how to navigate that? Do you think that you would be comfortable with all the new things that's coming into your life? Do you think that you'll be able to maintain that? Do you think that you will it will make the voices in your head go away? All the self-doubt, anguish, the works. Do you think that will help it go away? I'm gonna spoil it for you. It won't. It won't. That's not how that works. You being successful does not breed happiness. Happiness does breed success, but metaphysically, you being happy doesn't equate to how much success you have. You see what I mean? You must already have the success before you have it, because you will only get what you have. Like it says in the Bible, even though I'm not a Christian, to he who has more will be given. To he who doesn't, even what he does have will be taken away. In a vacuum, if you're always telling yourself, oh, I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have enough of this, I need more of this, you will perpetually need more. Because A, you're going to want more shit once you get what you need, if you ever do. And B, you're just going to make what you want harder to get for you. But alternatively, if you are someone who thinks, I already have it, it's already within, you are experiencing what it will feel like to have it already. So when you get it, you're not surprised. Therefore, making it come to you faster and you being able to maintain it. That's just a surface level of the metaphysics behind all of this shit of you comparing yourself, you feeling bad about yourself, you thinking that if you just had this one thing, you would be better and happy and everything would be good, because that's not how it works. And if you want me to make a metaphysical channel where I break all this shit down, let me know. But until then, all I have to say is thank you for watching the video. 1,000 thanks for watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Have a better day than me.